Hi guys, my name is Megan and today I have the second episode of my favorite urban fantasy series for you. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about today is going to be Discount Armageddon. So I know I've talked about this book quite a bit recently. This is the first book in the Encrypted series, and this series follows a family of cryptozoologists who are basically trying to protect all of the cryptids. So a cryptid is kind of like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Jersey Devil, Boogeyman, those kind of things, you know? So they are trying to protect the cryptids of the United States from this organization in England that is trying to destroy them all. And this first book follows the oldest of the Price children, Verity, who is basically like this ballroom dancer, and she's living in New York doing ballroom competitions while working for a bar that is run by a bunch of cryptids and trying to, you know, protect all of them and make sure they're all doing okay, when an agent from the organization in the UK comes and tries to destroy everything. So this book is really fun. It's really like action-packed, and there's all sorts of really cool like cryptids that are in this. It's just a riot of fun, and there's dragons. If anybody's interested, there's a dragon living in the middle of New York. The next book I'm going to talk about is A Flight from Death. This is the first book in the Fly By Night mystery series from Yasmin Geldorn. So this is a spin-off series from her Otherworld series, which is one of my favorites. This one has one main character, not like three like the other series, which is awesome. It's also very different from, well, it's not quite so different from the Otherworld series, since they do interconnect at some points. They do have like characters that cross over between the two different book series, and it's kind of cool to see how they interact because they're so different and yet still the same, if you know what I mean. So this book follows Shimmer, who is a blue dragon shifter, and she's been exiled from the dragon realms for a crime that she committed and is basically sentenced to work for a vampire who runs a private investigation firm. And this book is full of like fae creatures, so fairies, elves, vampires, witches, all sorts of creatures. There's a ton of ghosts in these books, which is kind of where this book starts off, with a haunting in a bed and breakfast, and basically it's their job to make sure the spirits go away. And I love this book. There's a good romance in it, lots of ghosts, lots of like cool mystery, and of course dragons and vampires and all sorts of cool creatures if you're interested. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is Cry Wolf. This is a spin-off from the Mercy Thompson series. So this is the first book in the Alpha and Omega series, and I think there's probably 5 or 6 books in this one now. I really do like this book, and I love that it crosses over with the Mercy Thompson books a lot. There's a lot of like same characters, a lot of overlap. So this book follows Anna, and she is a very rare form of werewolf. She's an Omega, and that kind of doesn't go over well with the pack that she's in, so she's very abused. And then along comes Charles, who is basically the fixer for the werewolf that like controls all the werewolf packs in almost the entire world. And him and Anna like have this bond that starts off straight away when they meet each other. It's really interesting. It's kind of insta-lovey, but it's not very insta-lovey, if you know what I mean. And these two go on all sorts of really cool like adventures. Anna helps Charles keep his head when he gets like kind of lost in his fixer duties, and Charles helps Anna come out of her shell after being abused for so long. And this is one of my favorite books just because it's just so like different, and most of the characters are werewolves or fae or like vampires, and there's not a whole lot of human kind of characters in this, but this book is really, really good, and it's, if you like werewolves, this is one to check out. And then the last book I'm going to be talking about today is The Graveyard Shift. This is the first book in the Lana Harvey Reapers Inc. series. Lana, our main character, is a Grim Reaper basically, so she works for the Grim Reaper himself. So the Grim Reaper doesn't actually oversee the day-to-day operations anymore. He's more of the head of the Reapers Inc. company, which he sends out the Reapers basically to, you know, collect people that die, collect their ghosts, bring them to the afterlife. And she kind of just does like the bare minimum that she's supposed to, and her best friend is Gabriel, the angel. And there's all sorts of like cool characters that cross over from all like the different afterlives. So there's basically all the different afterlives are like smooshed into this little city, and the ghosts basically get to go where they're supposed to their particular afterlife. And there's like a demon uprising, there's, you know, all sorts of really cool fun stuff. People go missing, the gods start to, you know, try to rise up and, you know, take over. It's a really interesting book series, and I really do like this. I think there's probably 6 or 8 books in this series now. I'm not sure. I think I'm only up to 6, but I think there's more than that now. So this book is really interesting. It's quirky, it's comical, it gets darker as it goes on, and all of the characters are super hilarious, and it's just such a good book. What's one of your guys' favorite urban fantasy books? Let me know down below. I'm always looking for new ones, so if you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the notification button, and if you would like to check me out on social media, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys!